Armand here with your forecast for February 12th of 2024. That's 2/12/2024. Lots of twos, right? Well, it doesn't matter. That's only one day. So we're waxing out of the new moon. So there's an active week. That's one thing that we want to keep in mind right from the start. We have the activity of the waxing moon. It's a good time to begin things. You know what Mars thinks? It's a good time for him to leave Capricorn and get into Aquarius. And that happens on the 13th. So we have a big transition there. Just before that, of course, he's at the very end of Capricorn, and he's in a way, he's kind of reminding us of all of those Pluto and Capricorn kind of issues, you know, all of the power structure things and stuff like that. That's kind of part of the picture as he's leaving Capricorn. He's heating stuff up. He's heating stuff up from, let's say, back last month when the sun and Pluto met on I want to say around the 18th or the 19th at the last degree of Capricorn. So sort of heating up some of those Capricorn issues. And then he jumps into Aquarius on the 13th. And you know what? The first thing he does, of course, is he meets with Pluto in the early hours of the 14th. So Mars in Aquarius is fighting for the cause, fighting for the ideal. Okay, this is Greenpeace. Okay, that would be a good model for you. It is the kind of militant but idealistic kind of energy, and Greenpeace may be one of the better ways of showing this, but a lot of other things as well. Mars in Aquarius, this is certainly unions and organized labor, but it's not just unions and organized labor. It is active. It is, you know, carrying the flag, rallying the cause type of thing. This is not a passive sort of, you know, those things are great. This is a, you know, we're going to do something. So, you know, the first thing he does is meet with Pluto, who's already bringing up issues around organized labor and, you know, idealistic organizations and things like that. And Mars is just adding a little fire to it. He gets his marching orders as soon as he gets into the sign of Aquarius from Pluto, and he's ready to go forward with these things. And so we'll see some of that. That is a very hot aspect that we'll see, you know, I mean, really it's the 13th and 14th. That's a good Mars. Well, I don't know if it's good, but it's a good Mars. It's a good sample of Mars energy in Aquarius. He will also, within the week, within a couple of days, he will make a sextile to Pallas Athene, who is always out there ready to tell the truth. This is the muckraker kind of asteroid. And she's in Sagittarius, very much belief oriented. So again, we're getting a lot of this collective enthusiasm, fighting for the cause type of thing. You know, we'll have to see how that goes. Now on the, and of course this will somewhat color Valentine's Day, although it's not really all that relevant. I mean, Mars meeting with Pluto is always this kind of simmering passion kind of energy. But in Aquarius, very likely that passion will get expressed in terms of collective ideals. If you and your lover are on different pages when it comes to politics and social issues, well, that could be an issue. But otherwise, Mars and Pluto and Aquarius, not really going to be much of an issue for you. Venus at the very end of Capricorn will be making a nice sextile to Neptune in her favorite sign of Pisces. That casts a little bit more of a soft focus around Valentine's Day. I'll tell you the truth. I said it in the February forecast, and it's too late now, but last week had some really great energies right around the 6th, 7th, and maybe into the 8th. That had some great energies for going out and celebrating. I don't know if Valentine's Day, I mean, you know, Venus sextile to Neptune is a nice aspect. You can do something with that. And while we're at it, what kind of a saint was Valentine? You know, in the old days, if you go back a few decades, it wasn't just Valentine's Day, it would always be referred to as Saint Valentine's Day. Not much is really known about Saint Valentine. It's murky. There were a couple of them, and it's a little bit murky there. But I mean, this is the patron saint of chocolate bonbons and silky underthings. It's a peculiar association. There was a Gnostic Valentinus who seems to have been living a little bit more randy lifestyle and encouraging his followers to do the same. And maybe the thought is maybe that got conflated with Saint Valentine. Nobody really knows. Nobody really knows. Anyway, have a good time. Do what you like. Venus then on the 16th jumps into this is Friday, jumps into the Aquarius party. Now Venus in Aquarius, much more about friendships and groups and associations and, a collective kind of thing. Venus in Aquarius is not really, I mean, Venus, it doesn't, if you have Venus in Aquarius natally, there's no problem here or anything like that. Venus in Aquarius, though, on the collective level, is not so much about the romance one-to-one kind of thing. It is much more about friendships. Interestingly, and this does apply with natal Venus in Aquarius. In this sign, Venus, if you meet the ideal, the particulars aren't that important. Venus in Aquarius is okay with a different form of relationship. It doesn't have to be a typical form of relationship. It doesn't have to be what everybody else is doing, what your culture says. Venus in Aquarius is comfortable departing from that as long as the ideal is met, as long as it's the sense of, well, this is what I really want, what I really value in relationships. That's sort of an aside point. Anyway, for the next few weeks, Venus in Aquarius very likely to be giving us a bit of this feel of, meeting with friends and, get a group together and go out for brunch or something like that. Maybe meet with coworkers for a happy hour type of thing. A little more of that is favored. A little bit less focus on the one-to-one thing. And what is the first thing Venus does when she gets into Aquarius? She meets with Pluto. And Venus meeting with Pluto in any sign is always this kind of like, what's the bottom line in relationship? It's always asking what the bottom line is in relationship. And, that nice fuzzy sextile to Neptune on Valentine's Day could easily turn a little bit more serious towards the weekend. It could be good serious. It could be, hey, we're really on the same page here. We really do share the same ideals. We really do place the value in the same place when it comes to relationship. Or it could be, we really don't. And, Venus meets with Pluto once a year, except when she retrogrades in the sign, but once a year she meets with Pluto. And it's always kind of this, reckoning. Where are we in our personal relationships? It's also kind of a bit of reckoning with where are we, and especially in Aquarius and Capricorn, where are we in terms of the collective, in terms of I say in terms too much, the financial picture of things, where are markets really going? How do we feel about money and the flow of things and the and in Aquarius, the distribution of money? Those kinds of issues will come up as well. So towards the end of the week, it might be interesting to see what happens with financial markets, if there's any kind of news that really affects them. Certainly, it would be really interesting to see what happens to technology companies, right? We're talking about Aquarius and AI, right? And it'd be really interesting to see if there aren't labor disputes that are affecting industry, and will sort of put a, minor shakeup of the economy, going up or down or whatever. It's just stuff can happen. We're not going to spend a lot of time worrying about what's going to happen. We're just saying this is a time when stuff can happen. What else happens on the 16th? And I'm saying this colors the 15th and the 16th, and maybe into the 17th. we have Mercury square to Uranus. Now, Mercury in the sign of Aquarius, which is his favorite sign, right? Is very, very rational, kind of logical, airy sign. Mercury loves that. So he's very, very happy in Aquarius, and he's squaring Uranus. Now, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So this is really, it's a square. It's a tough aspect, right? They're technically speaking, they're two fixed signs, and they're butting heads with each other. But not really. Not really. Not with the signs involved. I mean, they're in what we call an astrology reception. They're really talking to each other. They're speaking the same language. Brilliant ideas are a possibility, right? Rapid communication, especially with Mars and Venus hanging around Pluto, right? We really could be looking at some, rapid, forceful communication coming through. And, this is a time when people are not likely to be all that reserved in their communication. But, for that matter, it's not like they're necessarily going to be, it's not quite like last week when Mercury was square to Jupiter and people were a little bit more likely to shoot their mouths off. It's a little bit more, not reserve, a little bit more distance and perspective. Anyway, what does that mean for you? What you really want to know. Keep an eye on your thoughts. See if you don't get a couple of really good ideas. See if it isn't time to share a few good ideas. This is a time when if something seems like it might work, put it out there. Intuition is a possibility. You might very well come to your conclusions through more rational means instead of just having something pop up. But Mercury, Uranus, things do tend to kind of pop up. So rapid communication, even when it comes to driving, and you should always be very careful driving. Always be very careful driving. But I don't really see this as being something that's going to have people like, at the peak of being obnoxious on the roads. It's just a little bit of, a little bit of impatience will get under the skin of some folks, but more or less, no. So watch your ideas, see if you get something good, see if you catch something good flying by, share it with others. If you got to kind of blurt it out, it's okay. Once in a while, you got to blurt it out. And it may or may not stick right away. It may or may not stick right away. That's okay. If you got an idea, if it sounds good, put it out there. If you got some writing to do, it's a great time for that. And you know what? I'll be making a video for the following week on that day, and it probably will come out better than this one.